This talk is about Clophill Water Mill. The first powered mills, for grinding grain, appeared in Britain shortly after the Romans arrived in AD 43. They were powered by either animals or water. The earliest reference to windmills was in the 1180s. The Domesday Book, 1086, records that there was a mill at Cainhoe, probably somewhere near the castle. It is also recorded that a mill existed at Beedlow in 1140, probably attached to Beeley Priory. The River Flit rises in the grounds of Woburn Abbey. It flows in a generally easterly direction, joining the River Ivel at Langford. The brown icons are surviving mills. The grey icons are where mills used to be but are now gone. As well as water mills, some windmills are also shown. The watermill at Clophill stands on the corner of the High Street and the Causeway. It was probably built in the 18th century. It is shown on a map of 1716. The last miller was George Corse, who lived in the mill house, now demolished. The mill wheel is an overshot type. The photo shows an iron shaft, with iron naves, centers, and arms. The wooden buckets are missing. Because the head of water available here is relatively small, the wheel has a small diameter, 10 feet, but the wheel is very wide, 10 feet, to compensate. The large gear is the pit wheel, and is on the same shaft as the water wheel, which is on the other side of the wall. At the top of the photograph, behind the beam, you can see part of the wallower which is driven by the pit wheel. Moving upwards. The small gear on the left is the stone nut. This can be made to move vertically, so that it engages with the great spur, which is to the right on the main shaft. Moving upwards. On the ground floor are the 3 pairs of grindstones. Above them you can see the chutes that fed the grain to them. All the woodwork that would have surrounded the millstones, and the feed mechanisms above, are missing. The 3 runner stones are driven by vertical shafts, coming from the basement. Moving upwards. On the first floor you can see the top of the main shaft and the crown wheel. This drives a bevel gear on the horizontal shaft, which rotates the pulley that drives the belt that goes up to the second floor. Moving upwards. On the second floor, which is under the roof, is a pulley wheel that drives a hoist for lifting the sacks of grain. The belt that can be seen would loop around this pulley, and the pulley on the shaft on the floor below. All the machinery described here has gone, and the mill is now a private residence. To get enough water to drive a mill, it was usually necessary to divert a stream along a raised channel, so that eventually the height of the water in the channel was above the level of the stream. On the map of the waterway system, the River Flit approaches Clophill to the west of the A6 road, near the filling station. Here there is a weir that spills off excess flow. This channel runs under the A6 road, and alongside Goodwood Close. Then under the A507 road, and the causeway. It eventually rejoins the main river near the footpath. That leads from the High Street to Cainhoe Castle. In times of high rainfall it is this channel that takes the increased flow. The main river passes under the A6 and A507 roads, and then under the new bridge by the Green. You can see how much the river level has been raised, as there is a drainage ditch, which passes under the river in a tunnel. If you view the area from the footbridge, over the A507, you can see that the banks of the river have been raised above the field level. There is a second weir, which takes off some of the excess water. Further along, the dashed line shows the original course of the river. It has been diverted to the mill along a new channel that has been built up to form the mill stream or leat. A sluice gate controls the flow of water to the mill by diverting excess flow in times of high rainfall. By the time the mill stream has reached the mill, it is about 8 feet higher than the original stream. This difference in height is used to drive the mill wheel. The Victoria County history, that was written between 1904 and 1918, record. To the west of the village, at a short distance from the main road, stands an ancient windmill built of timber. The shape is peculiar, for the body is built like an ordinary barn with gables at the end. The mill sails used to be supported on large crossbeams which are attached to a square wooden turret with a low-pointed roof, which projects from the roof of the barn at the west end. It is shown on a map of 1890 and was where Moore's Close is today.